Hello there, my name is Retro. Like to talk about animation. Today we're talking about Adventure Time Fionna Kick spin-off series, episode 7 and episode 8. And these two episodes, I have to admit, it was twist after twist after twist. And constantly blew my mind away because how many references, how many things, what if this happened, just sort of took me back. I was just like, whoa, was super heavy on nostalgia, but done so well. Building a world and adding stuff you don't believe can actually be possible, and it just grab your attention. Of course, I think we should start it on episode 7. That Fiona, Kit, and Simon jumped at the last minute in this new world that what if Marceline never met Simon? Instead being raised by the vampire king who basically made her half vampire, half demon, but this version is full vampire, that she's heartless, and she doesn't go the name of Marceline, it goes the name of the Star. And you just see how unhinged she really is because Simon was there for her. This episode shows how important Simon is to just but just people in general. People who he's with, either he's annoying or helping or just being sort of a neutral. That Simon is very important to the people who, because he's the one who helped mold the world while he actually knowing because how kind-hearted he really is. And that's something little by little Simon sort of realizing that, especially with Marceline, because if he wasn't there, this would become a her. And just the sort of deepness that it kind of hurts Simon that Marceline became this. But also, I love it. They also focus on Fionna, how she's starting to realize, not realize, she understand because the last episode she got it. The thing she doing has consequences, and now she's trying not to do certain things to actually have make things worse. And I love that they use sort of like the mental thought of The Witcher, like that phrase, true, try to do the lesser evil. Because that whole episode is that, like, Fionna trying to figure out how to get the crown, but also not to hurt Simon. Also realize what the crown can actually do to Simon. He also trying to help Kate not hurt herself, but not hurting her own stick, in other words. But the only problem is, she had to make a decision. It doesn't really matter if she actually makes a good decision or bad decisions because the situation they really are. But I love it even more. The risk went even higher because the control will allow them to transport a different universe. Instead of broken, I mean, they can only allow one jump. That jump kind of decides could be even worse what they are or not worse. But I love this episode focused on two versions of uh, Bubblegum and Marceline. The male version and the female version. The male and female version is sort of interesting how they hate each other, and you can see they had maybe feelings or maybe it was feelings, but because how Marceline just so broken and sort of disturbed because of Vampire King that she doesn't know the difference or the situation she actually put in, because if all vampires rule and kill all life, there is no food for vampires. And that's something that she not yet fully realized and understand her emotions with Bubblegum. And Bubblegum became, well, everybody think what Bubblegum King is, sort of a tyrant, a general who wants to kill the enemy, who is heartless. Even that he doesn't want to open up. If she does, it hurt herself because she has so much emotional damage. And that is sort of interesting because at the very end, Bubblegum is exactly that. More sort of extreme levels. Of course, I was sort of afraid because they keep showing these two characters over and over again because how much they're beloved by the fandom, but doing so much can actually ruin them as a character that you just get tired of them and you don't want to care anymore. Especially of the second plot of the male version of Bubblegum and Marceline, how they were dealing with that side plot. That was interesting because you kind of continue on what happened to the male version of Bubblegum, that she got a chance to go in the Simon's mansion to see all the rich people, to see how Marceline lives, of at least the male version. And little by little, she realized Marceline actually sacrificed so much for him, and she doesn't want to do that. You can see the huge sacrifice he did, especially with her mother of Marceline, because I think this is the first time you see Marceline mother. I mean, you did see her, but you never really get to know her. I think this is the first time. Comment down below, I could be wrong. Like, comment down below, tell me this is not the first time, or this is probably the second time. I just don't know. If you do, just correct me down below in the comments. But besides that, it was sort of interesting how she is sort of stuck up, sort of that 1% that she wants her son to be good, but sacrifice whatever he is to become her, in other words. And Marcy doesn't want to, but you get it because he cares about bubblegum. So he's sort of thinking, oh, I sacrifice this, make her happy. But I love it how the male version of bubblegum says, no, this is not worth it. This is not the worst sacrifice. I mean, of course, she's sacrificing even bigger because flipping off Marceline's mom, if she does, the 1% won't thunder. So, yeah, she kind of screwed herself, but yet it's sort of that question, will you sacrifice everything from the one you love, or sacrifice your dreams, what you want in the moment? Even that you have the chance, this is your moment. You probably will have not another chance to have this moment. And Bubblegum chose Marcy than anything else, and that's sort of sweet. But of course, that could be the problem. I hope they just sort of calm down of the Marceline and Bubblegum sort of shipping, because do too much of that can actually ruin that ship, ruin those characters. Even that, make this clear, they fixed one of the major problems I have with this couple is the fact they never show how they fall in love till the last special they did. That's the time they actually fixed it, and now I'm enjoying it. So I hopefully they'll stop pushing it, let us take a break for a little while, and come back later. In other words, that's all I'm saying. For right now, I'm happy just to explore Bubblegum, the male version of Bubblegum, and the female version of Marceline sort of relationship. I'm fine with that. I don't need the female that much anymore, because too much could actually ruin it. But besides that, it was sort of interesting what happened of the main plot of Cake, Marceline, and Simon, because how everything went wrong. Everything how Cake and Fionna and Simon didn't want to happen, but sort of happened till they decided to transfer themselves once again, different universe. That made it worse. That basically episode 8. That episode, it's just sort of hard to watch because it all answered that one question: what if the Lich actually succeeded? That he is the one who and ooh. And it's sort of harsh because nothing is there. And that's the point of Fionna and Cake start bickering. Especially how Cake is sort of right that she has the chance to take the crown from the king so it can help Simon. But yet, that doesn't really help the situation because Foy is to do the lesser evil. But because the Cake still have that sort of cat mentality, she still doesn't have that wisdom of Jake of all the years. That could be still a wrong choice, and Fionna knows this. But the only problem is Fionna doesn't know how to deal with it because she still learning to deal doing something right, but it's wrong. In other words, do the lesser evil. Yeah, I feel that's sort of fascinating because she's just too scared to do anything exactly because she feels will hurt someone else. On top of all this, she found the crown by accident and she kept it because she knows if give the crown to Simon, he become the Ice King. And she saw the tapes, what actually happened to Simon. You could see him once again being miserable, being lost, being chaotic. You just understand Fionna's situation. But I love it. This final episode is not just dread. Because this episode, episode 8, finally reveals the relationship of Simon and her girlfriend. That you get to see Betty herself. Who she really is. I mean, not the first time. This is like the second or third time you kind of see her. But this is the most deep understanding in the relationship of Simon and his girlfriend, because it's like the first time you really get into it. Like, why did it fall off? Why Simon is so obsessed with Betty? Like, what is with Betty is obsessed with Simon? And you just sort of get it because Simon is sort of the guy who believes of magic, but no one wants to believe except for Betty. And Betty is sort of a pissy girl that she goes what she feels, but not she's not like a 100% pitsy girl that she is sort of bubbly, doing whatever she wants, but completely randomly. No, no, no. She has a line. She just does things when she feels. She's sort of kind of complicated, but yet she's still scared to actually give her emotions to Simon. She's not perfect. She's not that image pixie girl that every guy wants. No, she is sort of kind of realistic. Like she doesn't know how to tell her feelings to Simon, and Simon to Betty. Yeah, I thought that's sort of interesting, especially how kind of cutesy they actually become. Like somebody doesn't want to be with her because it's sort of not right because the professor, she's a student. He don't want to make professional. But that note that Betty left to Simon, I hate to hear it. It's adorable. If you're kind of realistic that someone doesn't know how to say the words or too afraid to say the other half and then write a letter, kind of high schoolish, but yet you get it. And something so personal that I think the best way to do it is sort of written or at least text. But of course, this is, I don't know what time period is. I guess this is the 90s before the internet. But other than that, I thought that was sort of interesting that how much Betty has respect for Simon. She doesn't want to take his glory because Simon find the hero's book, the old magic now words that he doesn't realize what it is because that sets the timeline of when he finds the crown, he becomes the Ice King, and all the book gives the magic to Simon loses his mind. That's why I find it so interesting because it also said the perfect time when he goes mad. What Betty becomes lost Betty, basically. But you get the idea. But I can't say much about it because how deep, honest, and interesting this two episodes is. It's something that just keep blows my mind, especially the twist, like how Simon died of episode 7, how this Vampire King find Marcelie, or how this world died using the legend of the hero of Ooh being possessed by the Lich, or how the Bubblegum died of that version, protecting his candy people or not. Honestly, we don't know. You think that's sort of interesting because how this world's just so built. Not just one, all 4 episodes to episode 6, 7, 8. Each episode could be its own spin-off series because how well thought out. What if, especially how each character is just so interesting. I said it before. This is basically season 5 that people wanted. If finally getting what they wanted. Of course, if they decide to do more spin-off series, I hope they pick one of these episodes just to do it for because it's the possibility is so good. Or these are movies because Adventure Time could be just kind of like Scooby Doo, just exploring, adding things, taking away things. I don't know how you felt about this episode. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you like Marcelie or the male Lexi better? Or you just sort of tired or not? You like the backstory of Simon and Betty? Tell me down below, let me know. I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.